Bonjour, bienvenue sur le plateau d'Informatique News. Aujourd'hui, pour notre rubrique le Grand Témoin, nous avons le plaisir de recevoir César Cernuda, qui est président de NetApp. César Cernuda, good afternoon. Thanks you for accepting our invitation. Last time when we spoke, when this was in May 2021, and of course this was not in person, this was like a virtual meeting. We had to spoke a little bit about COVID and how did you organize your company and manage the thing. And I was hoping that, you know, we will be finished at the end of that year, which was 2021, and it looks like we're still a little bit confronted with, faced with that problem. How do you manage this COVID situation still in the NetApp company?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for hosting me again, and it's a pleasure to meet you in person and be here in person, finally. Look, it's just amazing. As you said 12 months ago, we never expect to be where we are with COVID, but I think we all have learned how to live with it, right? Certainly, I'm not going to say everything has gone back to normal, say what we used to do in 2019. I think we have learned a lot of new things. And we're still, unfortunately, see people, in having some health issues and health situations. But I also think society and all of us have learned how to live with it, how to protect ourselves, and try to do as much as possible normal life. From a business perspective, there's no doubt that we all have learned to work in a much more hybrid environment. And I will say probably many things for the good. So we have a much more flexible work environment. I still think there's work to be done to get us back to have this type of interactions, have team meetings in person, et cetera, et cetera. But I think we're making good progress.
Well, I think we were very fortunate to have all this technology during that COVID era, but let's just think like 20 years ago, what would have done? I mean, probably NetApp would have been totally not stopped, but almost you couldn't do anything at that time. So technology was a kind of a blessing.
Certainly, we feel fortunate to be in this industry. And I can say in a very proud way that NetApp has been actively participating, with several of these labs, helping them, to help all of us and help society. And this is one of the things that we feel very proud about. As you know, we have a very strong presence actually in France on the healthcare area. So, technology should be an enabler for building a better life for all of us.
Okay, so let's talk about NetApp, of course, and this year, like 2022, is a little bit special because this is the 30th anniversary of NetApp, and was formed in 1992. And if you look at our industry, the computer industry, it's about half the way through. I mean, if you say that the computer industry about 60 years, this is half of it. So the first half was, I would say, mainly mainframe, mini computers and PCs. And then the second half is mostly internet and the cloud, which is like a continuation of the internet. How do you see NetApp in that, this evolution of the industry?
Yeah, I think, first of all, we can proudly say we've been 30 years in the industry. As you know, actually in France, we have been already 28 as well. So we feel quite proud on the investments that we've been making and to be a key member of the industry all these years. There's many companies that born, and unfortunately they can't celebrate 30 years and have the presence that we have in more than 100 countries. Once I've said that, you need to keep learning, you need to keep growing, you need to keep adapting, you need to keep innovating, you need to keep changing. The world has been changing the last 30 years, a lot. In the last 4 years, we have seen the change that we have seen. NetApp is not different. Today, the way we position NetApp, and we talk about NetApp, we are a cloud-led, data-centric software company. So in other words, we've been pivoting and we've been investing to make sure that we serve our customers in their needs, whatever they are, in their journey to the cloud, in a hybrid cloud world, in a multi-cloud world. So we feel very proud with this 30 years, but actually we are super enthusiastic for the next 30 to come.
Okay, well, let's not talk about the next 30 years, but the next 10 maybe. Right now, you have like three main activities. You have the traditional historical activity, which is a NAS and the SAN storage offering solutions. Then you have the cloud infrastructures, and then you have the cloud data services. So how do you see this in about 10 years? Do you think it's going to change again a lot, or it's going to be organized about the same way?
Yeah, I think, look, talking about 10 years from now, that'll be extremely
difficult,
risky,
yeah.
Right?
Well,
because one of the things that we all have learned is we don't know what we don't know. But we know one thing, which is we want to be present at the core of, our customer needs. And if you think about what is one of the most important assets, if not the most important asset that customer has, is data. We live in a data world. We live in a world where data is critical, right, for any customer, any company to make the right decisions, to differentiate themselves. Some of them say, how do I monetize my data? Some of them say, what do I do with all the information that I have? How do I store the data? How do I take advantage of it? How do I ensure that my applications can run in a way where performance, reliability, security around data? And I think you're going to see NetApp be very close to that data world. For many years, what we've been doing is helping our customers in their data center to store that data. And we are doing that today. We are one of the most important companies, right, with great technology, helping our customers in their data centers to store it and to work with their data in a secure manner and in a reliable way with great performance. What we have been doing is we want to extend that experience and that technology, not just into the data centers of our customers, but also into the public cloud. And one of the things that we have done in a unique way in the industry has been bring our technology to the cloud, but having the public cloud companies, Microsoft, AWS, or Google, being the one offering that as a first-party service. So in other words, Microsoft has a technology called Azure NetApp Files, which is powered by NetApp, and basically that helps Microsoft customers and NetApp customers to run their applications in a public cloud environment on Azure with our technology. Or the same with AWS with FSx, and Google is also offering that. So that's kind of the cloud piece. And the last piece that you were referring to is we've been investing, doing some acquisitions around the cloud ops world. We believe that FinOps, cloud ops is a very important area for our customers, where basically they want to go and do savings, they want to operationalize in a different way their assets and take advantage of all this investment they're doing in the cloud, and we bring in that technology to help them to do so. Mm-hmm.
So in fact, it's kind of interesting if we just continue a little bit about that subject, but you started as a software company, if I remember. Then you went to the appliance world, being like integrating software and hardware, and now you are a software company again. So it's like it's like a circle. You get back to where you were. But do you think this evolution towards software was mainly because you had to work in partnership with the cloud service provider, and they are doing the major work on the hardware, and you just providing the software to what they're doing?
Well, we have always been a software company. We have never stopped being a software company. Now, you rightly said, but Cesar, you guys started having hardware after bringing software. Well, that's different. We have never stopped our software investments in R&D. What happened is we realized that bringing the hardware to our software will help customers, on their overall performance and reliability and have a better experience. We're not unique. Many companies that probably you could think through, you say, hey, they brought their own hardware as well, after some years to have that experience with customers, right? But the core business has been, and our core business has always been on the software side. So on the cloud side, some of those cloud vendors, we have different type of a partnership with them. Some of them are using our hardware in their stamps. Some others are only asking us for our software. Some others are doing, kind of a mix. So at the end of the day, we're very committed to our overall product portfolio, but certainly, our software is a key differentiator, and our software is really enable us to position ourselves the way we have been positioning.
Okay, so you mentioned the three cloud providers, the big one, and there is also another partner, which is VMware, and you just published a new announcement like today and yesterday about a renewed partnership with VMware. So it's basically certification and support of the NetApp services, NetApp cloud services, and VMware cloud services on these three partners, the cloud provider. Plus, you had the integration of Tanzu, which is a Kubernetes project at VMware, and ONTAP, which is your software. Could you give us some detail about that? And also, we have those three cloud providers, but what about the other one? For example, in France, we have a lot of cloud service providers. They are not worldwide basis, but they are operating in France and in Europe. Do you have any plans to work with them also? I can't mention Auvergne Cloud, for example, but there are others. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that too.
100%. You asked me several questions in one.
Yes,
so let me try to address all of them piece by piece. First of all, there's no doubt that we have a unique position, and we really do, on that hyperscaler partnership. The fact that our technology is served by these hyperscalers as a first party makes a huge differentiation and tells you a lot about the type of technology that we have. And that's why these hyperscalers are trusting that technology. So there's no doubt that our partnership with VMware has been there for many, many years. But they have realized the progress that we have made on the public cloud. So the news that we are announcing today actually is, we're extending that partnership that we have been building for many years with the VMware. We're extending that. Today we're announcing the general availability of FSx ONTAP, which is our AWS with VMware, with ONTAP, which is a technology that AWS is offering. So in other words, VMware customers will be able to go and run their applications in the AWS cloud with our technology. As you know, we have also announced with Microsoft that partnership as well, right? We don't have general availability yet, but there's a huge partnership as well with Microsoft. And basically what we're trying to do with VMware is helping their customers and our joint customers to move to the cloud in a seamless way and being able to perform their applications in the clouds with our joint partnership. That's the big news that we're announcing. You have asked about, hey, what about local service providers, local vendors? Well, that has been our core business for many years. We have more than 200 service providers across the globe. In the case of France, there's as you know, special regulation, the data sovereignty. There's a special preference of that data residency. So the answer is, of course, we're teaming up with them. We have done very good progress with, 2 or 3 large, service providers in France. Well, actually with more, but with some of them trying to build that cloud services in a way where they can take advantage of our technology. So they're using our ONTAP technology as well to offer their services so customers can run their applications with them.
So what they're offering is at the same level as what AWS or Google or Microsoft are offering on their cloud?
Not necessarily, and it depends, right? How they're provisioning, how they're doing. Each of them are making their own choices. So they're not necessarily branding that as a product with us. They're basically doing that as a service provider. They're having their own products, but yes, they're doing that as a first-party service in a local way.
Mm-hmm. So
invoicing the customers, provisioning the customers, and they're basically acquiring the technology from us so they can go and do that and serve the customers the best way.
So in that new partnership or renewed partnership with VMware, there is that part that's called Tanzu, it's Kubernetes. And so they're also a big vendor, that's very active with Kubernetes, which is Red Hat. Do you have also any agreement with Red Hat at the same level?
Yeah, so great question. As you know, we also have a Core Instacluster where it's also helping us in some of these environments. The answer is Red Hat is a partner of NetApp, and we have a big partnership with IBM, and as a consequence of that, we also have a partnership with Red Hat. So
you have one in Kyndryl as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
We've been 30 years in the industry.
Right.
Our customers will expect that from us. We're doing several things with Kyndryl. Go to market. We do a lot of things with IBM Cloud as well, serving many customers. And certainly on the Red Hat piece, working, not just on Kubernetes, but actually in the open source world and supporting them and, enjoying customers, we're doing all those things. Kubernetes for us has been a big area of investment. On Spot, we've been doing, bringing some new technology around Spot Ocean, helping, some of those Kubernetes environments, etc.
Well, you just mentioned Spot. Let's talk a little bit about cybersecurity, which is a big problem, and it is, and it will be. I mean, there won't be any change about that, but it's still a big problem. And so you've made an announcement about Spot Security and Spot PC. Are they part of the same family of product? What do you intend to do with that? So that's one thing.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about ransomware as well.
Ransomware and security. Yeah, I think that, two different things. What I'll say is, as part of our overall cloud ops approach, we acquired a company called Spot a couple of years ago, and we feel extremely proud on that acquisition. Has really helped us help customers on their overall cloud spend, cloud ops, management. The learnings that we got there was, hey, how can we go one level deeper? So, for example, there's with Elastic Group, which is a piece of the technology we have on Spot, a solution that we have there, we're basically helping customers manage their virtual machines and actually operationalize that in a way that they can save money on their overall cloud consumption, right? And with that money, they can go and do other things. Cloud Ocean as well is the technology we're using to optimize the overall Kubernetes cloud consumption for those customers. So we've been trying to pack all that around the Spot brand and help customers, and that's where Spot PC or Spot Security are part of it. But at the end of the day, linking to your second question around ransomware, what we have decided as a company is, rather than coming and saying, this is my security product that you can go and buy from me, we need to embed security in everything that we do. That's what we've been doing the last 30 years. One of the main reasons why customers pick or choose NetApp as their partner is because our standards around security, our investments around security are best in class. That's what hyperscalers have also, bet on us for their cloud services. Hey, the technology that we have has 30 years proven track record, right, on innovation to really ensure that data is really well protected and not at the expense of not being able to give you the performance that you need. France, it's the third largest market in terms of hackers and cyber attacks, etc. As you have said...
You mean worldwide or in Europe?
In Europe. And as you have said, hey, this is not going to stop. And many people ask me those questions, say, Cesar, what do you think? Should we move to, technology, digitalization? You have all these risks. And I'm saying, well, we have those risks for many, many years. We've seen how people will come and try to steal from a bank. Mm-hmm. Probably our generation.
It's a different form.
Exactly.
Right.
So if the data is the new currency, we shouldn't be surprised that the bad guys want to steal data. Mm-hmm. And if the digital world is the new way of living, the new ways of attacks are more digital than we saw in the past. You and me are super used to go to a bank, and see a bank with all this, even people with arms. Because there's security inside, and you have all these, armor windows, and then, we see armor cars with the money. Years ago, we used to see a lot of them, and we think that's normal because we've been growing with that. And probably you think about it, so by default, you think somebody's going to steal. Mm-hmm.
Well, what's kind of funny, now it's not the case anymore because there is no money in the bank.
Because it's digital. So what you have is the bad guys have also evolved to become digital experts.
But if we talk a little about ransomware, do you have any studies that shows the customers or prospect that if they use your product, they're going to improve their security?
100%. I mean, at the end of the day, I always say, when any customer is making a decision or you're taking a decision, there's many aspects for that decision. The good news is more and more what we see is the security and the cybersecurity teams of our customers have a big say for any infrastructure, any application, or any new technology coming to those customers. The large organizations, there's no other way to do it. You probably know that in the CAC 40, right?
CAC 40.
CAC
exactly.
40.
Yeah.
There you go. In France, 90% of them are customers of ours. So our penetration, even in the Fortune 2000 companies, 96%, 95% of our customers of NetApp. Those companies do have a cybersecurity team, have security teams that go and say, what are the right technology to go and use inside my accounts? The challenge many times in the mid-market space, where they don't have that many resources, and we try through our partners to educate those customers to make sure that they understand, hey, the risk, but at the same time, the solutions. So yes, our technology has a proven track record, around technology, around security and the investments that we do on ransomware, cybersecurity, and ensuring that we protect our customers, a key topic for us.
Okay. I think it was in May you published the results of a study you've done about the way that your customers are evolving to the cloud, and there are a lot of different results. But one thing was all the people in charge of the IT or the cloud are moving faster to the cloud. That's one thing. But on the other hand, they were not sure, and probably very few of them were convinced that they were using the cloud in an optimized way. And this is nothing new. I think, when we go back to the data center era, I don't know if you remember, but we were talking about the zombie server, and they didn't realize that maybe 30% of the server were not in use anymore. And that's true for the application. So it looks like we moved to the cloud, but we still have the same problem. So what can we do to fight this?
100%. You see, I'll give you a couple of data points. 25, now it's almost 28, 30% of the data that our customers have, the data that you have, that I have, that we have in general, is the one that we use. So in other words, 70% of the data that we store is not being used. Mm-hmm. Big number. So there's no doubt that's a hot topic for all of us, saying, how do I take advantage of all the data and information that I have? So when you go and think about that cloud and say, hey, I'm spending all this money on cloud, am I really taking advantage of it? What is my real consumption of all that cloud spend that I'm doing? Can I optimize that? And yes, the opportunity is huge. It's as big as we have decided to, build that business at NetApp around the cloud ops. How do we help customers to optimize over all the cloud spend? As you know, we have Spot, and I already talked about it, but we did an acquisition of a company called Cloud Checker, which is also helping optimize their overall cloud spend. And they're doing that to service providers that help them with technology to optimize the cloud spend in all those customers. And if you think about InstaCluster, which is the latest acquisition that we have made, mm-hmm. is basically really focusing on those type of environments on the database, running cloud environments on the database. How do they be able to optimize the cloud spend as well and optimize the data that they have in those Apache or open source environments? So we are very much into it. And in a way, people say, but cloud ops is very different than storage. Say, it is. However, big part of the reason why we entered that is how do you optimize data? How do you take advantage of the data? That is very interconnected to our overall cloud ops, which is how do you optimize the cloud spend in customers.
But back to where we were saying 30% and 70% of the data that you're not using for no purposes. But I remember being in a presentation done by Thierry Breton when he was CEO of Atos in France. And I remember him saying that you just have to store everything just in case. But, so it contradicts a little bit about what you're saying.
Not really.
No.
What I said is what you're expecting to do, if you're the CEO and you have stored all that data, is, hey guys, what are you doing with the other 70%? Can we take advantage of it? And the challenge has been, hey, how do I do that in a cost-effective way? So if you think, let's go think 30 years ago, right? You're storing a lot of information and data, but accessing to it was very difficult. It was not digitalized. So you're basically trying to look into your files, opening files, trying to find information. That's when you start digitalizing. NetApp had a great opportunity because we say, we're going to store that data in a way that we can access to it fast enough and in a reliable way and a secure way, file storage. And then we start working with our customers to make sure that they can really take advantage in a cost-effective way on their data. Don't think only about that cloud storage. That cloud storage is an enabler for applications to go and access the data in a very different way. What is happening now is, hey, look, I have all these petabytes of storage. I've been storing all this data. I want to have a competitive advantage of my customers. If data is the new currency. And if you say, tell me how much data you have, I'll tell you what is the value of your company. Well, it depends. It will be a great value if you are able and capable to monetize it. You see great companies out there that they have a huge breakthrough because of the data that they have of all of us as consumers, right? Bringing different value propositions and being more targeted. So that's, big part of the digital transformation journey that our customers are going through is exactly, hey, how do I take advantage of all that information and data that I have? And how can I do it in a cost-effective way?
But don't you think that this optimization of the cloud usage will be possible with AI tool, with automation, and it won't be you won't be able to do it manually?
That's what Spot does.
So that's
Spot
what it
is
is.
exactly what it does. Spot has AI and automation to optimize your cloud spend. And therefore, let's go and say, for a customer, if you do this, you're going to save this millions of dollars. You can use and reutilize those millions of dollars to take advantage of that 70% of data that you're not using, so you can do this new workload and use AI analytics or whatever, to and optimize better all that data. So
it will be the combination of everything, because at the end you need the human touch to say, I want to do this or I want to do that, right?
You always have human touch for everything, even for the AI piece, by building the right algorithms to give you the information.
Right.
And then how do you, once you have all that information, how do you make decision making? You will always need that.
But the thing is, sometimes all these algorithms are working like black box, and we are thinking that they are doing their job, but we are never sure about that. So that it could be a main issue. One last quick question, because you're still a storage company, I suppose, or you think you are. Do you think we are, or we will be very soon in the storage business, will be NVMe all flash 100%, or we are still at some way to go?
Look, when you're saying you're still in the storage business, we're one of the market leaders on storage.
Okay, so you're in the storage business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we feel very proud to be, work and help our customers to store the data with our technology. The difference is we're not only a storage company, we are cloud-led data-centric software company. So we have put data at the center of what we do. And going back to your question, we believe that customers, we're seeing a huge growth on around flash, right? So we're seeing, we have seen in our last earnings calls, we have announced that we have already a $3 billion business only on flash, right? And certainly we're going to see, customers storing their data more and more, in ways where they can really use it, right? And they can really take advantage of it. And so that being said, we're going to see a lot of progress on customer bringing their data to the cloud on a public way, but, public cloud, but in ways that can really operationalize, and that's what we take a big part of it. So when you go and say, hey, let me have this on the cloud, but how many times I go and search for my pictures, how do I store picture, for example, is very different, right? If I'm not going to be looking for them, running mission-critical applications that, hey, I need to have this data of G, right, on their accounts or of this customer, and I need to operationalize that. And that's why we also have a big partnership with SAP to run, some of their workloads on the cloud. So big difference.
Okay. Well, I think you gave us a pretty big and nice overview of what you're doing right now, and maybe we'll do it again pretty soon, and we won't have to talk about COVID anymore. Hopefully. Anyway, César Cernuda, thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting me, and congratulations for the great program that you have.
Thank you.
Thank you.